Okay, we're going to do this again. Welcome, everybody, to Creative Promotions Men's Edition. I hope everybody's having an amazing week with this wonderful weather. It's up and down a little bit, but that's okay. I have these you guys are amazing. You know what I'm saying? You guys are amazing. I love your energy. I always say, my name is Chef Wilson. No one can introduce you the way that you can. So I'm going to start with my left. And can you please introduce yourself to the people, please?
Oh, yes, sir. Hello, how everybody doing? My name is Mr. Randy X. I would like to thank my girl Q. Give a shout out to Q for letting us do the men's edition once again. We love you, my sister.
Thank you. And then off to my right.
Once again, we're back. Men's edition. Want to say what's up to my guys, you know. Lee Polo in the building, Leon Johnson, a.k.a., I do it the other way. What's up, man? Y'all ready to get it?
I've been ready since this morning, man. I've been up since about 2:30.
2:30.
Yeah, early day at work. We have an amazing topic that I'm sure is going to help a lot of people out here. Mm-hmm. But, I'm going to do a little something different.
Okay.
Randy, this means a lot to you. So I'm going to let you introduce the topic today, since that's your baby.
Yes, sir. Well, today's topic is rhythm, momentum, endurance creates balance. So we're going to start off with the rhythm. Everything in life has a rhythm to it. So if you singing, you dancing, you running, you working out, you managing your relationship, you managing your bills, you managing the way you eat, because that's very important. So it's the rhythm to everything in life. So we're going to elaborate on that today.
All right.
So y'all can feel free. Y'all see the number at the bottom of the TV screen. Y'all can call in and ask some questions and build with us. Today is a building session. It's the men's edition of Rhythm, Momentum, Endurance Creates Balance. So rhythm is very important in everything you will do in life, right? So as we came up here today, right, we supposed to have been elaborated on this a couple of weeks ago, but this is very passionate and very dear to my heart. It's because we know that a person is off track if you is not moving in the right rhythm. So I'm going to pass it on to Brother for a minute so y'all can elaborate a little bit.
And when we talked about it the other day, you made it very, very clear, and we talked about ballroom dancing, right, and being in the rhythm of the music and stuff. So I did like that part. But I want to ask Polo, when you start off your day,
okay,
it starts off with the rhythm,
it does,
right?
Yep.
And I know we've went over this a few times in the past, but just speaking on this topic right here, right? What does rhythm mean to you? Before we get to the momentum,
okay,
before we get to the endurance, and then we finally end up with the balance, what does and how does that look like for you, the rhythm part?
Rhythm for me, like I've have stated before, and this is important for y'all to understand, because rhythm is, for me, is start off with the spiritual. That you got to hit that key in the morning for me. Like I hit that key, and once I hit that note, it seems like the rest of the day falls in line, whether it's good or bad. Because like Randy X is saying, when you're in rhythm it's like that sound when you hear that song that you ain't heard in a long time, and you bob your head like, oh, that's that junk.
Yes.
But that's the same way life is.
Yes.
You can have a bad day, because my day started off last night, y'all, at 12 o'clock going bad. It started off at 12 o'clock going bad. And I literally, it was just bad. AAA was telling me they couldn't pick up this, couldn't do this. So it was super bad at 12. When I got up at 5 o'clock, I'm sitting there like, oh, my God, I still got to deal with the car. I got to deal with this. Mm-hmm. It's not going to go good. But I say all that because the rhythm, because I started it a certain way, the rest of the day went boom, 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 boom. Then to the now, I'm like, oh, yeah, I had a great day. My day turned out to be amazing at 3 o'clock. But I had to go through what was going on, and I had to stay in rhythm with the boom, boom, before I can add in the snares and the horns and all of that. So, to me, rhythm is a starting of spirituality, then letting your day progress into what it's going to be.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I agree with that 100%. I know I say that a lot, but I do agree with that 100%. So my rhythm starts with my spiritual also. Before I even get out of the bed, I start my day with praying. Mm-hmm. So that set the tempo for me, right? And I stay on that. So I had looked up the definition for this particular word, and it's a strong, repeat pattern, movement, or sound.
Ooh, repeat pattern.
Strong. So when we starting our day off, we're not starting it off half-baked. We're not starting it off weak. We coming out the gate strong. We coming out the straight. So I tell my friends and my children, I said, you never rush, but have a sense of urgency.
I like that.
Right. So when I think about that sense of urgency, and then I read this about being strong, I said, there we go right there. Mm-hmm. We're not rushing. Right? But we have a sense of urgency of what we're going to get accomplished for the day, for the year, for the month, however you set your goals. Have a sense of urgency, right? Be strong with it. Don't be weak with it. Be very intentional with this.
Exactly.
Okay?
Come on now.
Unapologetic.
Right.
And
as you say that, now we know that rhythm is a pattern. Mm-hmm. But the substitute word for pattern is routine, right? Like you got to set up a systematic routine of doing something productive throughout your day, right? So that takes discipline to do that.
Absolutely.
Right, and focus. Mm-hmm. You got to be focused in order to maintain a certain pattern, a certain routine in your life to make you a productive individual, every day. A lot of us get sidetracked. Anytime we talk about and have a discussion, we always got to apply it to ourselves. We're not just talking to anyone that's listening. We're talking about ourselves in the process. So, yeah. Ain't nobody perfect, so people tend to fall off a little bit, including myself. But in order to apply what we are talking about to our daily lives, that's why other people's views and opinions really matter. Like when people listening right now, people need to know that people is going through things that they are going through as well, right? Because we are human.
Yes.
Right. So we're not just talking to ourselves, we're talking to the people. We're letting them know that it's all right to make a mistake, but you must correct the mistake or it's going to create a certain pattern in a negative or positive light. And that ties into rhythm. So you got to stay in that rhythm that's going to be very productive for yourself.
Okay, you brought up, and thank you for that. Now, you said something about being productive, right? Staying in rhythm, okay? If you can give, just from your perspective, what you do to keep yourself focused and rhythm and being productive when the day comes at you, can you think of any scenario or situation where you had to apply something, and maybe it's something that you do quite often?
Yes, sir. As far as, I'm a barber, personal trainer, and things like that, but along the way, a lot of us in our lives get sidetracked by people that we love. So people tends to call you when you at work being productive, right?
Yes.
And you stop what you doing to fulfill their desires and needs and things like that. Then you start to fall off track, right? In the long run, in the duration of time, you start to lack in what you supposed to be focused on. So sometimes you have to, you got to miss things. My cousin Lee Polo told me, Red DX, you can't make every event, brother. Right? You can't. But I've been gone for a long time. I've just been trying to make everything because I'm trying to show the love and respect for my people because I love everybody, brother. Right? But in the Bible says that ones that said that they love everyone lack a little something within themselves. Okay. So sometimes that's a self-correction. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you got to fall back and miss things in order to appreciate the things when you're able to go to it. Mm-hmm. That's what I learned from that.
All right. And I like that a lot.
Yeah. See, one of the things about rhythm, and I'm glad that Randy X brought it up, is that rhythm, what you said, Chef, by definition alone, is strong and hard. It didn't say it's good or bad.
Right.
So if I'm doing something unproductive, and I'm in rhythm of it, I'm gonna be strong and hard with it. It's gonna go. It's just the natural course of rhythm. And so I'm glad that Randy X brought that up, because that's some of the things that we don't look at when we out there moving from day to day and time, from hour to hour. We say, hey, I'm making these moves and I'm making these plans, but have you put it in your rhythm that's going to be beneficial to you, or the rhythm that's going to cause you to go all off sync? Be a terrible song. The song going to be horrible, But it got the nice snare on it. Boom, 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 boom. That's all you did was go hard on the beat. You ain't make nothing else go right.
So, get people, because when we talk on this show, we talk about being life certified.
Mm-hmm.
So, if someone tuning in and they may be at a standstill in life, right? So I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you do to stay within rhythm, and when the day starts and it start lifing, right? What do you do to stay productive?
The biggest thing to stay productive, as I call for me, is self-check. When I think I'm doing something, and it may not be, I'm in this rhythm, and I think I'm doing something, but I realize, it ain't benefiting nothing. What does it benefit? A lot of times we do things in life thinking we're going, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. And I'm in this rhythm. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But then I realize the rhythm has no meaning, has no substance. It doesn't bring me to my end goal or one of my least milestones along the way.
Okay.
So that's why I say self-check. You got to be able to look at yourself and have an accountability group around you. You got to have an accountability group that say, hey, man, I don't think that's cool. Because you in rhythm or something and it look good, sound good. It may even be beneficial for the moment, but it's not beneficial for my milestone. I'm trying to save up $5,000, but I'm doing X, Y, and Z. How can I save up $5,000? And I don't have nobody around me that's saying, hey, bro, you can't meet your milestone. Forget the goal. The milestone is I save up $1,000, then I save up $2,000. How am I hit it? It's impossible. So that's one of the things I do. It's called self-check.
Self-check.
Come on now.
That's free, self-check.
Yes, sir. That's self-check. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation, and maybe in a conversation, where your rhythm was good, right? Because I want you to get this information to the people. I'm going to ask you the same thing, Randy. Where your rhythm was good, started out strong, like we talked about, right?
Yes.
So here's this. You're in maybe a conversation with someone, right? So to stay in rhythm, is that when you self-check right at that moment? And how do you check out of something that, like you said before, that's not bringing you any value? How do you do that personally?
Personally, is this
without being offensive to the thing standing in front of you?
Personally, when I look at it, and that's a good question, Chef, and I'm glad you asked that. Personally, I look at it like this. You have to be in tune with yourself. Now, that's something that you can either learn two ways. One, by can listen to that inner voice, or two, by making a bunch of mistakes. And then you say, oh, I remember being here. Hey, bro, I got to go. Such as today when we was cracking a joke when we came in, and the brother made those statements. And for me, that's a trigger.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, it's time for me to go, because the way my sit parole officer is set up, those comments don't work for me. Now, back in the day, I'd have been like, oh, bing, bing, bing. My rhythm would have went off, said, hey, I can go get some money with this brother. So it's like now I done got to a point in my life where certain conversations, because of tragedy, is my new reality.
Absolutely.
So that changed the game. Lose a couple years of your life.
So, thanks. I like that too. And I love that. I'm going to tell you something. This show is about transparency. So maybe not this show, but maybe another show, you'll hear about our backgrounds, because we life certified. And a lot of people have been through some of the things that we've gone through. So we're not sitting up here. We're not a perfect man, but we're a good man. I say that all the time. But thank you for that, being transparent.
No problem. Because you know what? That's what more people need to be nowadays. Because especially when you see brothers being successful, that's the thing, you know, that I would love for men to be, you know, and women too. If you have had past or blemishes in your past, express them, because you never know who you might meet.
Absolutely.
Somebody need to know that I didn't just get here yesterday. I've been on this journey for a long time. T.D. Jakes said it best one time. I heard him say, people talk about my big old 8,000 or however many square foot church, or 15,000 square foot, or however big that church is. This huge church. He said they talk about me now, but they forgot when I was in West Virginia and I had a church with no lights on. Wow. So that's the big, his journey is for him.
Absolutely.
We all have a journey. We all have past. We all have things that we've done. But when you get into that rhythm, then things start to clicking. You got to hold on tight. 'Cause that train ride might go fast, or it might be a long one. And sometimes when it's a long train ride, such as I'm going to use Bishop Jakes, he didn't get there overnight to be the people we see making movies and doing the stuff he's doing. It took a while. So, but he chose a path that was totally different than some of our paths. I done been up, I've been down so fast it didn't make no sense. I was like Dow Jones. But when I crashed, I crashed.
Yes, sir.
And I like that. Thank you. When I think of that, and you said just slow down. Yeah, please slow down. So, because sometimes in life, we can trade in something that's perfectly fine for something new, right?
Man, I apologize. You know, man, say it again, brother.
Sometimes in life, we can trade in something that's perfectly fine for something new for the lack of patience, right? Things have to develop. Anything you plant, it takes seasons for it to blossom fully, right?
Yes.
Right? So by us being on this show, being transparent, like you said, a lot of people say, well, you know, I'm successful. And they see the success, but no one wants to share the struggle story, right? The failures, right? That's how they were able to tell you, you may not want to do that. Put your money over here instead. You know why? Because they put their money over there.
Correct.
Right?
Come on now.
Right. So we're just slowing things down a little bit, right? And we're slowing things down a little bit to let you know that even with our journey sitting in front of these mics, it happened over time.
Yes.
It happened over time.
Yes.
So, you know, Randy, you know, the same thing, you know, I'm going to ask you.
Yes, sir.
What happens if your rhythm starts off fine in the course of a day, but that distraction comes, that conversation, that maybe flat tire, that thing that you did not put into your day? How do you continue to stay focused, in rhythm, right, and productive at the same time? You have any examples?
Yes.
Okay.
From my past experience, a person must first take time out their day to spend time with themselves.
That's
The only way that you're going to do a self-examination, a self-analysis, and then comes a self-correction is when you really get an opportunity to know yourself and who you are. That's when you're going to be able to make a transformation in your life. I didn't say change, I said a transformation, meaning that you would not repeat the same thing.
Yeah.
Because once you do a change, you can always change right back. A transformation is you a whole different person, and people see it in you, right? And you even see it in yourselves, and that makes you proud of yourself. The hardest substance in the universe is the made-up man of a black man and black woman. That's why society is so frightened by us. Because when we able to do a self-examination and an identification of ourselves and know who we are the most powerful people on this earth.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So in order for you to continue to stay in rhythm and be productive and be successful in life for yourself, not for the success of society, because that's a false perception. We saying be successful of yourself.
Absolutely.
Because whatever goals you put in front of yourself and you feel that you are successful for accomplishing the goals that you wanted to, not from what someone else wanted you to do. You did it for yourself. That is very powerful. And society knows that of us because we are the original people of the earth, brother.
So what you're saying, when that thing comes at you, right, and your rhythm's good, and you started out right, in order for you to stay within rhythm and productive, maybe in that moment you do a self-examination of you before you make that next step, that decision. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. But in order to do a self-examination in the first place, you must spend time with yourself. That is very powerful when you spend time with yourself. See, a lot of people is out here acting out in the world right now, even the youth, even older people. We're not excluding no age group. People is acting out in other people's business and all these things is because they don't want to take a reflection and look at themselves. They don't want to look in their mirror.
Absolutely.
The only way you're going to have growth and success in your life and make a difference in your life, your family life, the community life, is when you do a reflection of yourself. So another powerful situation is being proud of yourself.
Okay.
See, it's very beautiful when other people be proud of you, brother. But I know when I first got my GED, I called everybody in the world. Because coming from where I came from, you understand what I'm saying? You know, people don't get high school diplomas and finish school and things like that. And the feeling that I had from that made me want more for myself. So then that's when I got my associate degrees and things like that because I was so happy and proud of myself. I didn't do it for nobody else. I did it because I felt good for myself.
Yes. And I like that, Randy.
So I stayed in rhythm. See, when I got my GED, I stayed in rhythm. You see what I'm saying?
So just to get on that, it's something I want to add, and then we're going to move on to momentum. Is when my daughter, she just graduated from college, second in her class, right? Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Right.
That's big.
Yes.
Congratulations, young sister.
I used to always tell her, I used to call on Fridays. I said, look, Cameron, don't forget to celebrate yourself. Don't ever wait on anyone to celebrate you, and that's okay.
That's real,
right?
Right.
You don't have to wait for it. I don't want any of you guys to wait for it. Celebrate yourself, and it's going to look different for all of us. But it's okay. Be proud of your accomplishments. You're not being arrogant. Just celebrate you, right?
Right.
Please do that. So we're gonna get on to this momentum. Okay. All right. So we in rhythm, right? And we talked about if something gets in our way. And that personally with mine, I in that moment, I will bow out of conversations in order to stay within rhythm.
Right.
I had to do it today in a conversation at work, right? Because I said, this seems like I'm going to spend a little bit too much time in this conversation, and it's not how I want to spend my time, right? I need to still do some research for the show. So I gracefully bowed out the conversation so I can stay in rhythm. And that's okay.
Definitely okay.
That is okay.
But you did a self-check.
I did right in that moment.
Yeah.
Right what person was talking to me, and you guys can do the same. With the world moving so fast, like Randy said, sometimes the people around you, they can go around you. We know about that being in work traffic, somebody riding you, right? You doing the speed limit, let them go around, right? So that's what we do with situations like that. So when we're looking at this momentum, now, Polo, your momentum.
Right.
How do you keep that moving forward?
Well, I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is something that I do a lot. I stay busy.
Okay.
See, when you have negative algorithms, things that's not clicking the way you're supposed to, because that's one of the guys that said to me, talk about negative algorithms. Well, if you need throwing about numbers, positives and negatives, you got to keep as many positives on your side because negatives come. But that's the momentum of it.
Okay.
I got to keep it going. Even when, like today, it started at 12. It went bad at 12 a.m. But I didn't say, man, my day going to be bad. I never said my day was going to be bad. I said it started off bad. So when I got up this morning, I said, But my momentum said, start with God. See, my momentum said, we're not going to stop. We're not going to dwell on it. We're not going to try to figure it out because it's not for us to figure out. You know, as the day progressed, because I stayed in rhythm, because I had the momentum to keep going when it didn't look right, you know, it was dark. It was dark all day, but I just kept doing this. I even told Randy, and you know this to be true, I don't work on cars. I worked on the car today, sold the car, did some motivation speaking. I said, hold on, champ. I'm doing stuff I don't do. But that's because I just said I'm going to stay busy. Mm-hmm. I ain't going to let the negative, the numbers that's adding up to say this going to be a bad day, I said, no, that ain't going to happen.
So let me I'm going to just jump in real quick. Now, when you say busy, because I replaced that, then I'm going to want you to continue.
Right.
I used to say busy, but then I said, maybe I'm just being productive.
Wow. That's it.
You know, being busy is, you know, and I know we say it a lot. I had asked somebody before, I had asked them a question. And I said, why are you just so busy? And they said, well, I'll probably be busy for the rest of my life. I said, are you busy or are you running? Right? And I said, well, do you really want to be productive?
That's a whole nother statement.
Right.
I'm glad you caught that from me, see, brother.
Yeah, I caught that because I
was productive. I wasn't
you're
busy.
no, you weren't busy. You were being
productive.
Because I heard everything you said you did, and you said I worked on a car. I did. So you were getting things accomplished.
Correct.
So were you being productive?
I was being productive.
So if we have to share this one thing with listening audience, we're going to change this narrative on some of these words that we use. So we're going to pull out that busy. And say you being productive.
Throw that
right over the shoulder. We no longer busy, right?
Right.
We're being productive. We're getting things accomplished throughout the course of the day.
That's true.
Right?
Right.
That right there.
That's big. You know that's big, right?
Yeah, we doing this, right? We're no longer being busy. We're done with that.
Right.
That's for amateurs.
Exactly.
Were you finished? You had something you wanted to
add?
You know
what? I'm going to tell you something. I digress. I digress because you said something so powerful. See, a real man got to be able to accept when he's saying something that doesn't show what he's really doing. I said busy, but it really is productive.
Absolutely.
Look, touche, brother. Go on, Randy X. Touche, brother.
And that's love right there, right?
For sure.
That's love.
Well,
you know, I had and I'm gonna pass it to Randy. I did a toast at my good friend's wedding, and I said a good friend will not always tell you what you want to hear. He's gonna tell you what you need to hear.
That's real.
And that's real love in relationships, right? Any relationship that you have, tell them what they need to hear. Just don't tell them what they want to hear. All right? We're done with that one also. Okay? Really?
Yes, sir.
We're done with that. So momentum, all right? If you can share a couple tips when you're in rhythm, how do you continue with your momentum of the day so the things that you're getting accomplished because you're being productive? What are a couple of tips you can share with the people about keeping up your momentum throughout the course of the day?
Okay, y'all. Now, we started with rhythm. Now, as I elaborate on this momentum, I want everybody that's listening, including ourselves, to step back for a minute and think about all us on the track team right now. And we running a race. And we first started off that, now we know that chef energy, right, is different from mine. And Lee Polo energy is different from ours as well. So we first starting off the race together, right? It's not a race, we running laps. We about to run 10 laps, right? But as I explain this, I want everybody to look at it as this is a life trial. This is a life experience. But just look at it as we starting these laps together, right? So first we starting off with the rhythm. So we have to match each other's pace, right? We got to be able to be synonymous to each other energy. So one of us might can run faster than the other, right? Another one of us is slower than the other, right? But we must do this as a team operation, right? To be in harmony with each other.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we started with rhythm. So now momentum means pace, right? It means stamina, right? So now as we starting to run, we are noticing that each other's energy, right, and breathing process is different from each other, right? So this what Lee Polo was saying, we must keep similar individuals around us, right?
Right.
Right, to be able to move accordingly with each other, right? So as we doing that, we got to keep the same pace. So now we in harmony with each other, right? Now, Lee Polo probably wasn't working out as much as me and Chef, right? So we'll move on to that further in the next word, right? It's a we're going to continue with this. This story that I just created, in the sense, this journey that we on.
Hey, I like that. So we're gonna jump into endurance, right? Do we have anybody got their phone up? We can see if we had any comments in the sections.
No, somebody was they actually had texted me the comment, Chef, because I have a lot of people that's online following us right now, but they texting me the thing like, hey, talk about this, talk about that, because what it is, brother, and we both know this, is that these conversations are far and few in between.
Absolutely.
So the momentum is that people feeling these conversations because they like, man, I really don't know, when do a man get a chance to cry? You know what I'm saying? I was always taught, when I fall down, get up, be tough.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody tell me ever to cry. So guess what? It's hard to shed tears. I go to funerals and don't know how to cry.
Yeah.
Because the momentum has taught me, don't cry. So at least when I can shed a little, I ain't gonna say we gonna cry on the show, but man, it's all right to be like, I messed up. And the brother ain't gonna down you for messing up. And that's something that's important. So the people out there, they reaching out, through the text. I appreciate y'all. If y'all can call in too, we want y'all to call in, say something to us. Let us know that it makes sense. The number is 313-266-2811.
Okay, so before we go on, did you dig into the question that they actually wanted us to answer?
Well, yeah, because we talked about the other thing they was talking about is coming home. So the momentum of coming home to a clean house. Because like how we saying these different things, what we are not saying, which the people are telling me, is that certain things around you create rhythm and momentum. One of the guys said coming home to a clean house. Because for him, and he may be just mentioning, I'm not going to say he's not coming home to it, but that could be a big deal when you've worked all day, then you come home and your rhythm was on point all day. Your momentum was going at a high rate, and then you come home and boom, the house dirty. Now I just throw you all the way off. Because that's what life is, a bunch of rocks.
I agree with that. We did a Battle of the Sexes. And we had a guest on. He was talking about him and his wife being in rhythm. Right. So whatever he reads for the day, the word he shares with her. So they're being fed a lot. So if you are coming home to that, and if you're a wife listening, or if you're a husband, you're home first, right? Stay in rhythm with the person that you coexisting with, right? So make it comfortable and inviting for them to come home too. Because you want them to stay in rhythm, because it's some sort of way going to benefit you. So if we get into the endurance part, when I think about that, I think about pouring into myself. Right, for my endurance. So I have to, what that looks like to me, that may be some quiet time for a moment. Right. So I can continue to run this race, in which we call it, throughout today. So I take some time to pour back into me. That may look like, for me, writing a little bit, listening to some music. So this endurance part, you have to, right in the middle of momentum and the rhythm, you want to continue this, because our end game is to get to the balance.
Man.
So I just believe, like, that's what I usually do throughout the course of the day. And it's going to look different for everyone. It all depends on what type of job you have. I'm going to keep it simple. You may be able to go sit in your car on your lunch, right? and pour back into yourself so you can continue with the day. Whatever you must do, whatever is available to you to pour back into you, that's just the way I see things, okay? I need you to do that, and it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. Just looking at that endurance part, and then I'm going to hand it to you, Randy. What is like maybe two things you do?
So for endurance, and this is something that's big, and when I say this, for me not to work out, this is crazy that I'm even saying this, but it's true. I drink a lot of water.
Okay.
Water is the key to so many different things in life, especially if you can drink more of the different waters that give you different nutrients in them, not just tap water or bottled water. But I say that because water is the essence of life. And for whatever reason, we think that we're drinking enough of it, and you're not, because you need that to function. You know, that makes your brain click. That makes your body, your body get well and do things with it. And so that's one thing I do for endurance is drink a lot of water. The second thing I do for endurance, and it's going to sound even more crazy, is I slow down. See, because in order to run the race, I can't put on out the race. I'm playing for the long game. I know you're going to beat me at every milestone that we going on right now because you got a good rhythm. But I know you can't go 20 laps. You can go 10, but you ain't in the long round, like the NASCAR race. It's real easy to go in a quarter mile, but do a NASCAR race and go all them 400 laps and a left-hand turn and see how you go crazy.
Right.
At 200 miles an hour.
And I like that because you said it earlier. We see a lot of people being successful, and I think we adopted this go hard or go home, or everybody's posting a lot on social media about so much they're doing, right? Slow down, because they're not really doing it the way the pictures are put together.
That's true.
They're taking out time in between that. But you have to slow down enough to know that's what they're doing. Because you can look at someone's Facebook page, and it seems like they just posting picture after picture. They're at this function. Next thing you know, they're out of town. They're in the Bahamas. They be like, man, I don't have time to slow down,
Exactly.
I even heard motivational speakers say, you don't have time to sleep. Really? Is that what we're doing?
And sleep is one of the biggest things you need.
Yes. Right.
Rejuvenate yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we're looking at a lot of people, mental health is very big, right? Because they're not slowing down.
Right.
Right? So be mature enough to know that what you're looking at on social media, they're taking breaks in between this, people.
You're right.
They really are. You may see them pulling up at an event, getting out that Bentley, but you have to know that before that, they probably took a nap before the event.
100%.
And they wouldn't sit in a sauna before the event, but they're not going to talk about that. But no, that's what you need to do. Go get a massage. Meditate, right? That's part of your endurance. Just slow down. But I'm going to pass it to you, Randy, because I know you have something to add to the endurance part. And then we're going to,
yes, sir.
I want to move on to the balance, because that's that icing on the cake.
Yes, sir. Now, this is a continuation of the journey, the story. So first we started with rhythm. It's all about the beat. You stand in rhythm with yourself. We talking about on a mental, a physical, emotional. You got to keep your emotions in check in a certain rhythm, right? But that comes with patience, right? Now we talking about rhythm in the spiritual. Now let's move on to the momentum. The momentum is the pace in which you need to maintain the rhythm, whatever you're doing in life. Now we moving forward to the...
You got a caller?
We got a call.
We're going to try to connect you. Lost. Please call back.
Please call.
Now
back.
we moving forward to the endurance. Endurance is the stamina, is the everlasting you digging hard inside of the core to dig up out of you what you never knew exist. And as we started running the race, all our different energies and windspans was totally different. So now we in rhythm with each other. Now we got the same pace. So we trying to maintain the harmony with each other, right? Now the endurance. So one of us is running out of breath. So it's going to take the team operation and systematic system, right, to fall back. Hold on for a minute. Lee just said that he can't run 10 laps, but we not stopping until we run 10 laps. So we got to downplay ourselves, right? Take a breath and fall back with our brothers, right? Because this is what people is not doing in life. I'm trying to paint a picture because everybody is so selfish out here, right? You can never be successful in life if you're not a team player. So every successful individual had to team up and had teammates along the way in their lives, right? They just forgot about that along the journey because they lost the vision of being a team player. The only way you could be successful in life if you have people around you that love you and that you appreciate them and show appreciation, right? We're not talking about the ones to take advantage. You know, we're not talking about those individuals. They got to learn on themselves, you know what I'm saying, once they get surpassed, right? But they can't be nothing but mad at themselves because they wasn't a team player. Absolutely. So you got to humble yourself in the midst of rhythm, momentum, endurance is humility, right? Humility stands in the midst of each one of those words, right? Because once you come in with rhythm, right, you got to stay in rhythm with self, people around you, others, right? You could be successful, but you still got to be humble in the midst of it. Momentum, you got to be humble in the midst of having that same pace, right? Because somebody was alone and helped you out and showed you something, brother, right?
Yes.
Because this is what we doing. We on the 8th lap right now.
Yes.
Right? The only way we're going to come in harmony with each other in the midst of endurance, right? And that's what creates balance. Now we singing the same cadence together.
All right.
We did it. We run the race. But the only way we run the race, brother, rhythm, momentum, endurance creates balance. Balance is God. Balance is a lie. You must have God first in your life in order to maintain balance.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's the key to this whole show right now. We all be independent of God because we think we are successful by ourselves, and we are not.
Yes.
You got to humble yourself.
Go on and preach.
You got to humble yourself. Seriously, brother, you got to humble yourself. Balance represents God. If anybody listen, look at the Holy Quran, the Holy Bible, look up the word balance. It's going to say it's a representation of God. And the only way you can have balance in your life if you got God first in your life. But you got to humble yourself in order to do that, brother.
No, I agree.
Hey, hold on.
Come on now, man.
Talk about pass the collection plate around. We about to get some money over here.
And see, this what since Man's Edition, this is what real men are talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. We're just not talking about hustling, making money. We're talking about a quality of life. We're talking about a quality of life here. The only way we can do this thing is sometimes you got to empty out that glass and refill it with something else.
Come on now.
Right.
Okay. So our glass has been filled by images that we're overstimulated because our social media is very visual.
You got another call again.
No, that's
okay. Man, Rev, you don't turn that off.
Man, you're not in rhythm,
right?
But so, like I was saying, social media is very visual,
right?
So we have to empty out that cup, right?
That's true.
It can be very deceiving. Right, so we're just bringing the real beverage, right? The real beverage,
right?
no chaser, right? And this is what we need to hear. No one's talking about it. I can go in many places, and I just hear people talking about making money all the time. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But it's something that goes along with it. And that's called how you start your day and how you end your day. And at the end of your day, that's that balance, right? So we have to start being more transparent with this thing, right? Sometimes you can eat off your own bait.
Correct.
The bait that you're throwing out, you can eat off of that. Will not keep you into a reality check, and that's not what we're doing.
Right.
We're not.
But here go the funny part, Chef.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Randy X says something that what creates balance.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you really look for balance when you start off with something?
Okay,
That's another call.
We got a call.
Okay, we got
so
a
we're
call.
going to try this again. Hello, caller. Welcome to Man's edition of Creative Emotions. Who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Okay.
I'm saying scam likely.
Okay. Maybe they wanted some advice also. But go ahead.
No, it's just a lot of times we don't really understand like balance comes. What do balance look like? Because if you start off going the wrong way, because I thought a lot of things that I was doing in life was balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I could say I'll go to work, I'll do this, I pay for my kids. So that looked like balance to me, but in reality, I was putting stuff on the scale that you can't measure. People, we look at this scale and say, okay, I'm trying to balance. You can't juggle, for the lack of words, BS. You can't juggle BS. Mm-hmm. At some point, you got to understand BS is BS. So you got to go ahead and say, you know what? Like you said, take that off the scale. That's what you're talking about, taking that cup away.
Yep.
Refreshing it. I got to put new stuff on the scale, so that's what I'm balancing. Because a part of what Randy X is saying is that in order to be a conditioned runner and in order to be a team player, I have to know what those things look like.
Absolutely.
I got to know what it look like to condition, get the right shoes, train the right way. I got to know what it is to know that my teammate can't do the things that I can do, but I still want to be in rhythm with him. I want to be, I want to make sure his endurance is good enough that we score high enough on the charts that you might have lacked in that area, but we score higher in this area that balanced it all the way out. So not a team win.
Absolutely.
Because that's in life, we don't have that. We have people, everybody, like you said, overstimulated by social media and then just the desires of the world.
Yes.
And riding down the street can be a lot if you ride down the wrong street. You're going to see cars and clothes and this and that I remember or I want. Mm-hmm. Remember and want is two different, it's bad things. But when you really get it to when you say, okay, I want my portion of what's due to me based on what I'm doing, that's balance.
Yes.
My portion.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
Now, we're going to use all these key opponents, but what I like to tell people that it's going to always say we're using anything that we're sharing with you, it's going to look different for everyone.
That's true.
Right. Your balance is going to look different, right? But we're still going to use all these key ingredients because how you get your balance may be different from how I get my balance.
Right.
Right. And I think that's very discouraging for a lot of people out there because they say, well, things are not turning out the way they did for this person.
Right.
Right. Because your life only have to make sense to you. Mm-hmm. Right. I hear it all the time. People, they can be at work, many friends, social circles, and they may give someone, for example, relationship advice. Well, that advice worked on for them in their situation, but you always have to remember the person you're dealing with has a different personality trait, right? A different spirit, right? So when we're sharing these things with you, just know that your balance is going to look different from ours, and that's okay,
100%.
Right? At the end game, as long as you have your balance and you have your peace and you're being productive, right? Never measure it up against another man's, him being successful or being productive. Okay? Put on your own pair of shoes. Because the last time I don't even think I could put my foot in your left shoe. Right. It just won't fit.
Correct.
right? And like what I'm saying. Like,
exactly.
let's share this pair of shoes. No,
Exactly.
it's going to be very uncomfortable, right?
Yep, for one of us.
Yeah, for one of us, it's going to be. So that's the other thing, and I'm going to continue to say this before we wrap things up. Being overstimulated. Check out a social media sometimes. You're listening to us, and that's fine. But throughout the course of the day, check into your own reality, right? Instead of someone else's.
That's true.
Sir.
Right? We're all in somebody else's reality, like 24/7. And that's why frustration set in, and things is just not making sense to you. Check into your own reality.
That's
okay?
right.
That part right there.
That part that way.
That part that way. We have maybe a little bit over 5 minutes. So before we check out of here, thank you, Q, for always the opportunity.
Thank you, Q.
Yeah, you guys.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Q, you know we love you, my sister.
Yes, congratulations on your victory. Check out Q at Poetry and Conversations this Friday.
Friday. I'm
Yes.
about to be mad that I got to go out of town.
It'll be all right.
It be
It's
live. I
another
like
one.
it. I love it too.
Yes.
You staying in rhythm, brother.
Yes.
But look, I want to elaborate on something before we close out. This was a blessing. This was a blessing for all us to come together right now and speak on rhythm, momentum, endurance creates balance. I would like to leave y'all on this note. Everything that you're doing in life and you are proud of yourself, you stand in rhythm with it, right? The momentum comes in play by continue to keep the pace. But in order to keep the pace, you must keep people that's negative or all type of different energies out of your life in order for you to continue with the rhythm and the momentum. And in order for you to be successful in the long haul, which is endurance, you must continue to keep on doing what you are doing and surrounding yourself with individuals that's like-minded of yourself and want the best for you as you want the best for them, right? The key goal and golden rule of life is doing to others as you would like done to yourself. So do not surround yourself with individuals that do not want what you want for them, because it's going to be an imbalance in your life. And to complete this off and close this off with rhythm, momentum, endurance creates balance. The balance is God or whoever you believe in. It don't matter what religion you believe in. You a Christian, you a Jew, you a Moorish American, you in the Nation of Islam, whatever you believe in. Just continue to keep doing what you're doing and keep God first. And if others don't like you because you believe in something else, they are truly not your friend or family. Because every different denomination, right, is all the same. And that's submitting your will to do the will of God. So continue to keep doing what you are doing, and you're going to be successful, but be humble in the process. We love y'all.
All right, thank you.
Look at it.
I like that. I like that. Polo, anything you like to add to that or leave with the people?
I'm just gonna sum it up real quick. Please understand balance. As we stated today, balance is rhythm, endurance, momentum. It means a lot to understand that, and they come at different times in different ways. Understand your balance may be something that only you have, only you can create. And if you got the wrong balance going on, like Chef said, clear the plate. Start over. Find the right people that need to be in your life. Find the right relationships to be in. And of course, above all else, pray to that spiritual being that you believe in, that you need to do, that's going to help you be a better person. Because the problem is you trying to do what mom and daddy did, and it don't fit your soul and your spirit. Do what you feel is right. That little inner voice, that's your balance. That's your peace, and that's your endurance. All right, y'all, I'm out. Billy Polo.
Yes. And just to add, I agree with both of my brothers here. And but I am going to leave you with this. Your life only has to make sense to you. And the reason why I say that is because all of us have our own individual purpose. And it's not quite going to make sense to anyone else because it wasn't given to them. God gives you a certain amount of energy, your endurance level, talents, gifts to fulfill what you need to fulfill while you're here, right? So I'm going to just tell you this. Walk in purpose. please walk in purpose. People need to know that you were here, right? Share your gifts, right? People, and I'm gonna let you think about that, but people need to know that you're here. We're just not here for the trips, for the cars, for the clothes, for the compliments. People need to know that you're here, right? Check into your own reality, no one else's, and then life will start making sense to you. Run this race at your pace, and if you have a life partner, you know, they may not be running beside you, but keep them in your rearview mirror so you can see whether or not they're falling back. Okay?
All right.
So we love you guys. Q always say we love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And you know what? And ain't nothing you can do about it, you know, because I'm going to give you that love anyway. So